cold and wary. Markov had no choice but to head back to his own cabin and have a final confrontation with the enormous beast that was no doubt waiting for him. It was getting dark again, and cold. It started to snow, which made it difficult to see. Markov instinctively touched the knife and gun he had on him and started his trip home.
Dad, have you heard about the man-eating lions of Savo?
Yes, those two lions are famous. I believe the pair are on display in the Chicago Museum today.
Yeah, a friend told me the story. So scary.
Those two lions hunted people in Africa over 100 years ago. I can tell you a more recent true story about an extraordinary tiger in Russia. This tiger was different from almost all the other man-eating big cats.
How so?
There have been many stories of lions, tigers, or bears killing humans. The Bengal tigers of the Sundarbans used to kill 50 to 60 people a year. The famous Champawa tiger, who learned to like human flesh, reportedly killed over 430 people in Nepal and India, until she was shot by Jim Corbett in 1907. Most of the attacks on humans happened because the predators had a lack of food, and they ate humans as a supplemental food source. Or they acted in aggression because humans invaded their territory and they felt threatened. Also, tigers take what they need from the environment. They don't kill more than what they can eat. So whoever comes close to them when they're hungry becomes their prey. But this Siberian tiger was different. He tracked down a specific man for revenge. For lions and tigers, this was extraordinarily rare.
Wow, I want to hear it.
To be fair, humans have definitely caused more damage to the tiger population than the other way around. Tigers are protected around the world today because they're considered endangered. This means their population is decreasing rapidly, and we're worried they may completely disappear from the face of the earth one day. Some subspecies of tigers have already become extinct. In the last century, we lost roughly 97% of the tiger population living in the wild.
Is it because we have destroyed a lot of the forests where tigers used to live?
Exactly. The story of this Siberian tiger took place in Primorye, a forested area spanning over 600 miles in eastern Russia, bordering China. In the extremely harsh winter of 1997, a 47-year-old seasoned hunter and poacher named Vladimir Markov slowly waded through knee-deep snow. This was a remote and poor area of Russia. People could not find jobs and had little money. Many hunted, so they could eat some meat to help them through the cruel winters, where temperature could get as low as negative 40 degrees Celsius, far below freezing temperature. Markov hadn't had much luck that day. It was starting to get dark, which meant the woods were becoming more dangerous. Just as he was about to give up, suddenly he saw a dead boar. Wow, maybe it's my lucky day, Markov thought to himself. As Markov moved closer to the wild boar, instinctively he knew something was wrong. He saw an incredibly violent scene. The boar's body was severely damaged. Blood was everywhere. Markov realized the wild boar was killed by a very large and powerful predator. Maybe a bear, but more likely a large tiger.
Uh-oh.
Siberian or Amur tigers are the largest cats in the world, a subspecies of tiger who have adapted to the harsh winters in Russia. Males can grow up to 700 pounds and 11 feet long. For comparison, A male African lion is usually between 350 and 550 pounds. Siberian tigers have meat hook claws as deadly as a velociraptor's talons and jaws that could apply pressures of 1,000 pounds per square inch, a bite force almost twice as strong as that of a male lion.
Wow, a Siberian tiger can probably beat an African lion then.
I think so. In the wild, size matters. Unlike lions, tigers usually hunt alone. They're skillful hunters who can jump as far as 25 feet and are able to take down prey 6 times their size, while they prefer to use their massive teeth to crush their victim's neck. A single strike of Siberian tiger's paw is strong enough to smash a bear's skull. Indeed, research shows 5% of Siberian tiger's diet consists of bears, who may be vicious and dangerous, but are no match for the male Siberian tigers. This is why the Primorye locals call these majestic tigers Tsar of the forest.
What's a czar?
A Tsar is a Russian emperor. Hungry and tired. Perhaps Markov thought about the delicious smell of cooked boar meat with some vodka at the dinner table. Perhaps he thought about selling the boar meat for some extra money. Maybe Markov, who had made money as a poacher before, even wanted to attract a tiger to him. Because in the black market, a tiger could be sold for as much as $50,000. For that reason, between 1992 to 1994, around 100 tigers were killed in Primorye by poachers. We will never know what went through Markov's head that day. What we do know is Markov decided to steal the boar from the tiger, which was a decision he would come to regret. In the wild, when two species compete for the same food source, they're considered competitors, like lions and hyenas. As a result, lions routinely kill hyenas, and hyenas in turn kill lion cubs. In an environment where food is scarce, predators kill those who may eat their food to give themselves a better chance to survive.
Oh no! The tiger will see Markov as a competitor for his food now.
Exactly. As Markov dragged the boar through the snow, he heard a loud roar. From experience, he knew it was from a male Siberian tiger at its prime. Afraid for his life, he dropped the boar, fired shots into darkness in the direction of the tiger, and started to run home. Now, Markov had not only taken the tiger's food, but also attacked it at close range. Deep in his heart, Markov had a heavy, sinking feeling. He was in a bad situation. After he got home, Markov locked himself in his cabin and spent a sleepless night. He listened for scratching sounds outside of his cabin or angry roars. Instead, he heard nothing. In the morning, he looked outside the window. No sightings of the tiger. He let out a sigh of relief and stepped outside cautiously, only to be shocked by what he saw.
What did you see, Dad?
All his belongings outside of the cabin, which had his scent, had been methodically destroyed by the tiger. Except for traces of blood and some dog hair, there was nothing left of Markov's dogs, who had no chance against the alpha predator. The tiger had found Markov, and just as Markov had guessed, the tiger was angry at him. But rather than impulsively attacking Markov, the tiger seemed to have a plan of toying with the prey, filling him with fear first. Trembling with fear, Markov ran to his friend's cabin, asking for help. After hearing Markov's incredible story, his friend, however, asked Markov to stay away, telling Markov he didn't want Markov sent anywhere near his cabin. "What if you leave your scent with my children?" his friend told Markov apologetically. "There's nothing I can do for you, my friend." Markov then asked for help at other places. But similar to his friend, everyone he asked refused to step forward. Everyone was afraid. Cold and wary, Markov had no choice but to head back to his own cabin and have a final confrontation with the enormous beast that was no doubt waiting for him. It was getting dark again, and cold. It started to snow, which made it difficult to see. Markov instinctively touched the knife and gun he had on him and started his trip home.
This is so scary, Dad. I hope Markov doesn't get killed.
No one knows what went through Markov's mind as he trekked through deep snow, holding his weapon close to him. In this small town at the edge of the world, in the dead of winter, there would be a final battle between a scared but determined hunter and an angry apex predator. When Markov's remains were found 2 days later, all that was left of him were stumps of bone sticking out of his frozen boots, a bloodied shirt with a part of an arm still inside, a partial hand, and a chewed up head and a part of a leg bone. The tiger had not only killed and eaten Markov, it had mutilated, torn, and strewn his body parts over a 16-foot radius. It was pure revenge. What made the locals even more nervous was the tiger's tracks showed a paw size of over 17 centimeters, way bigger than the average male size of 10 to 14 centimeters. This suggested the man-eating tiger was a lot larger than usual. But at least with the death of Markov, perhaps the angry beast was now satisfied and would return to the depth of the forest. But the villagers were wrong. Soon, giant paw prints would be found in nearby villages. An enormous tiger, lurking in the darkness, was stalking people the same way it did with Markov. Apparently, after eating Markov, the tiger was not yet finished. It wanted more. People were warned to stay home after dark and only to go out in groups. Was it enough to prevent the tiger from killing and eating more people? No one knew. They needed someone to step up and stop this man-eating tiger. Soon, a brave young man named Andrei Pochepnia, a former soldier and seasoned hunter, went to look for the tiger. Quietly, he went into the forest, trying to track the enormous beast. Little did he know, the tiger saw him and was also tracking him. A few days later, Andrei's remains were found. All that was left of him was some blood-drenched shreds of clothing, his watch, his crucifix, and a pair of boots. Oddly, it was as if the tiger had taken the time to undress him before eating every last inch of his body.
Poor Andre.
Even more surprisingly, the villagers learned the tiger had even carried a mattress from a nearby hut to lie in comfort while waiting for Andre. The tiger had clearly studied Andre so well, he knew which path Andre would take. The oldest drawings of tigers, from over 5,500 years ago, were found on giant basalt boulders in the Amur River. Some of these ancient images were part human and part tiger. In this man-eating king of the forest, there seemed to be an odd combination of human intellect and the raw power of an enormous tiger. It was clear to the Russian authorities now, this tiger had to be found and killed before it would strike again. Ironically, the person placed in charge of this operation was Yuri Trish, the head of an anti-poaching unit that had been fighting the black market trafficking of tigers. But now, with the man-eater on the loose, Trish had to catch it before more people were eaten. After carefully studying the tiger's tracks, Trish had a surprising discovery. While a male Siberian tiger in his prime could easily travel over 30 miles a day, this tiger seemed to stop every few hundred feet. One of his paw prints, the right front paw, seemed lighter than the others. These findings meant one thing. The tiger was already wounded. One of the hunters, probably Markov, before being killed, had hurt the tiger. This would explain why the tiger was now hunting humans. Its injury probably prevented it from catching its normal prey in the wild. So it now had to turn its attention to the easiest target, people. Patiently, Trish separated the tiger's old tracks from the new tracks. Tracks older than a few days were not useful. After finding the newest track, which was less than a day old, Trish selected a few men he trusted. Too many people would likely discourage the tiger from appearing, so they had to keep the team small. As darkness neared, Trish and his team followed the tiger's tracks into the forest. Having night vision many times better than their prey, tigers like to hunt after evening and before dawn. So this would give the team the best chance of finding the angry man-eater. The freezing weather and fresh snow made tracking very difficult. More and more, Trish had an odd feeling that he was being watched. Shaking off the uneasy sensation, Trish and his team pushed on. In an isolated area, deep in the forest, they found the tiger's tracks, but oddly, they seemed to go in circles. Was the cunning tiger purposefully misleading Trish's team? Suddenly, Trish's dogs tensed up, started to tremble in fear, and refused to walk any further. Clearly, with their exceptional sense of smell, the dogs had sensed what Trish's team had missed. The tiger was there, watching them. Trish noticed the direction of the wind had just changed. Tigers ambush their prey. They don't know humans have a poor sense of smell, so they treat people the same as their other prey. They like to sneak up on their prey upwind, so their smell would not alarm their targets. Trish had been careful to let that direction be on either side of them, because allowing a hungry tiger to sneak up behind your back would be close to suicide. But now, the upwind direction seemed to be behind them suddenly. There was a low grumble of thunder overhead. A storm was near. In the midst of the thunder, Trish heard a furious roar that shook the trees, and the great beast exploded out of the bushes from behind and leapt directly at Trish. Startled, the team turned around, fumbled with their guns, and frantically fired shots as the tiger flew through the air and landed on Trish. Just as he turned his body, Trish felt the crushing weight of the tiger on him and sharp pain as the tiger's teeth pierced through his skin. Trish knew he would only have one shot. In the next second, the tiger would close his mouth over his windpipe and break his airway in half. He would then no doubt suffer the same death that Markov and Andre had suffered. With all the strength he could find, Trish shoved his gun toward the mouth of the tiger and fired a shot. The loud sound of his gun echoed in his ears. He felt the world spinning around him. When he opened his eyes again, he was still alive. The giant Siberian tiger lay lifeless in the snow next to him. The tiger's long claws would have pierced through his chest and lungs, except they grabbed the walkie-talkie Trish was wearing on his chest. As luck would have it, the fight was over. Trish had finally killed the man-eating tiger. When Trish and his team examined the tiger, they found the poor animal had been wounded many times by bullets and homemade bird shots. These injuries, no doubt caused by humans, had weakened it and prevented the tiger from eating its prey in the forest, forcing it to become the man-eater it had become. In the end, it was the action of men that created this man-eater.
Wow, that was such a crazy story.
Crazy, but true. Remember to respect nature, Warren, and be nice to animals. If you harm them, one day you may become the victim of your own actions.
Got it, Dad. Here's my joke of the day. What does a Siberian tiger say for greetings? I'll give you some time to think about it. 3, 2, 1. The answer is, nice to meet you.
Thank you for watching. Please remember to click the like and subscribe buttons below. You can turn on the notification bell if you wish to be notified when our next video comes out. Thanks!